The first thing you need to understand, and the truth that will either liberate you or destroy you depending on how you react to it, is that the world does not owe you anything. Nothing. Not comfort, not success, not sympathy, not a handout, not even a second chance. And the sooner you stop expecting life to feel sorry for you, the sooner you begin the transformation into someone unstoppable. Because the moment you release yourself from the expectation that someone else will fix your life, you finally take control of the steering wheel that you were supposed to be holding all along. Look around you. Everyone is complaining. Everyone is tired. Everyone has a reason they can't. Everyone has a story about why life is unfair. And guess what? Every single person on this planet has gone through something painful, something traumatic, something difficult. But only a few decide that their struggle is not an obstacle, it's fuel. You want to know what separates the winners you look up to from you. It's not luck. It's not genetics. It's not money. It's not opportunity. It's responsibility. They took absolute brutal responsibility for everything in their life, even the things that weren't their fault. Because responsibility isn't about blame. Responsibility is about power. The minute you say, my life is hard because of this person, because of that event, because of this situation, you give away the power to change it. But when you say, everything that happens from this point on is on me, you take all that power back. And that scares people. It scares them because once they admit it's all on them, there's no one left to blame. There's no escape route. There's only action or excuses. And most people love their excuses more than they love the idea of becoming great. But you, right now, have a choice, a simple one. Do you want to stay where you are, trapped in the mindset that everything is happening to you? Or do you want to rise into the mindset that everything is happening for you? Every failure, every setback, every loss, every difficult moment. They are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations for you to grow, to harden, to evolve into someone capable of handling the life you say you want. But you cannot accept that invitation until you stop waiting for someone else to fix the mess. No one cares enough to do it for you. They have their own battles. They have their own demons. They have their own failures. And deep down, you don't want anyone else to fix your life anyway. Because if someone else gives you the solution, they own the result. If someone else builds your success, they own your story. You want your life to be yours, don't you? You want your victories to feel earned. You want your achievements to feel like something that came from your blood, your sweat, your decisions. So you need to stop outsourcing your future. Stop assuming someone should feel bad for you. Stop thinking the universe will give you a softer path if you complain long enough. Nothing gets easier because you're sad. Nothing improves because you're frustrated. The only thing that changes your life is the decision that you're done living like a victim. And when that decision clicks, everything begins to shift. You stop looking at challenges like reasons to quit and start seeing them as chances to sharpen yourself. You stop feeling jealousy toward people who are winning because you realize they're not lucky, they're responsible. You stop expecting sympathy and start expecting results. This is the mindset that builds champions. Not people waiting for comfort, not people waiting for perfect timing, not people waiting for motivation, but people who look at their life exactly as it is without filters or excuses and say, this is mine to fix. This is mine to build. This is mine to transform. That's the moment you go from powerless to powerful. That's the moment you stop drowning in problems and start swimming toward solutions. That's the moment you begin the journey from who you are to who you were always meant to become. You wake up every day thinking you need to feel a certain way before you take action, and that is the fastest recipe for a wasted life. Because feelings are unreliable. Feelings are inconsistent. Feelings are soft, fragile, and easily manipulated by comfort, stress, weather, distractions, and whatever chaos is happening around you. If your life is controlled by your feelings, then your life is controlled by things you don't control. And that is why discipline beats motivation every single time. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is a machine. Motivation lasts for minutes, but discipline lasts for decades. Motivation fades after a bad day, but discipline ignores bad days entirely. You want to be great. You want to break the cycle of mediocrity. Then you must learn to operate like a machine, a warrior, a force of nature that does not wait for the perfect emotion before moving. You act because the action is required, not because the feeling is convenient. Most people never succeed because they wait for alignment. They wait to feel ready, feel inspired, feel confident, feel energized, feel passionate. They wait for some magical moment where everything inside them says, now is the time. And guess what? That moment never comes, because life doesn't reward the emotional. Life rewards the disciplined, the people who get up when they're tired, the people who show up when it's boring, the people who grind when it's raining, when it's late, when it's uncomfortable, when everyone else is slowing down. That is the difference between someone who dreams and someone who achieves. One waits for the feeling. The other moves without it. Think about the strongest version of yourself, the version you picture when you imagine your ideal future. That version of you isn't controlled by emotions. That version of you isn't thinking, do I feel like it today? That version of you is consistent, unshakable, and committed to the mission regardless of circumstance. If you want to become that person, you must live like that person. You must build habits that don't ask for permission from your emotions. You wake up and you train. You work when it's required. You push even when everything in your body says stop. Discipline is not about feeling good. Discipline is about becoming good. Becoming powerful enough to ignore the temporary discomfort in exchange for the long-term transformation. You need to understand something profound. Discipline creates freedom. Discipline creates respect. Discipline creates identity. A disciplined person does not need to convince anyone of anything. Their actions speak so loudly that no words are required. A disciplined person moves like someone with purpose. A disciplined person commands their own life with a presence that most people never reach because they're too busy negotiating with laziness, comfort, and fear. And the truth is, the battle is always inside you. It's not the world holding you back. It's not your circumstances. It's not your past. It's the voice inside you that says, let's do it later. Let's take a break. Let's skip today. That voice is the enemy. That voice is the destroyer of greatness. And if you don't learn to silence it, it will silence every dream you have. You tame that voice through discipline, repetition, consistency, showing up again and again and again until you no longer ask, do I feel like it? But instead ask, what needs to be done? Every time you push yourself past your emotions, you strengthen your willpower. Every time you act without motivation, you build a new identity. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you teach yourself that you are in control, not your feelings. And that is where the real transformation happens. Because once you become the type of person who acts regardless of emotion, you become unstoppable. Distraction cannot stop you. Fatigue cannot stop you. Fear cannot stop you. You move with a level of consistency that makes success inevitable. This is how machines are built. This is how warriors are forged. This is how legends are created. Not through excitement or passion or temporary motivation, but through the daily decision to show up, to push harder, to stay committed even when the world gives you every excuse to take the easy path. The disciplined rise while everyone else sleeps. The disciplined build while everyone else complains. The disciplined win because their actions don't depend on the way they feel, but on the person they have chosen to become. There comes a point in your life where you realize that raw discipline and hard work alone are not enough. You can push, grind, sweat, sacrifice, and suffer, but if your direction is empty, if your purpose is weak, you will eventually burn out. That's why the strongest individuals on this planet do something most people overlook. They align themselves with something bigger than their own strength. They don't just rely on their muscles. They don't just rely on their willpower. They rely on purpose. They rely on intention. They rely on prayer, not as a desperate cry, but as a grounding force that gives meaning to everything they do. Because when you move with a mission that is greater than your ego, you gain access to a power that never runs out. You think success is just about pushing through fatigue. You think it's just about ignoring emotions. That's only half of it. The other half is understanding why you're pushing at all. If you don't have a reason that shakes your soul, you will break when life tests you. And life will test you. It will hit you with losses. It will hit you with failure. It will hit you with betrayal, heartbreak, disappointment, sudden changes, uncertainty, and pressure you didn't see coming. In those moments, discipline alone feels thin. Your mind starts asking questions. Why is this happening? Why keep going? What's the point? But when you move with purpose, when you operate with a connection to something higher, those questions become weapons instead of weaknesses. They sharpen you. They remind you who you are, and what you're fighting for. Prayer is not weakness. It is alignment. It brings your mind, your heart, and your mission into a single direction. It humbles your ego while strengthening your spirit. It forces you to pause and see the bigger picture instead of drowning in temporary struggles. When you pray, not as a habit, but with intention, you stop seeing obstacles as punishments. You start seeing them as preparation. You start realizing that the challenges in front of you are shaping you, stretching you, and training you for a future you're not ready for yet. Prayer gives meaning to the pain. It transforms adversity into accountability. It turns fear into fuel. It reminds you that your path is crafted with precision, not chaos, but understand this: prayer alone does nothing without action. You don't pray for strength and then remain weak. You don't pray for success and then stay lazy. You don't pray for guidance and then ignore the opportunities placed in front of you. Prayer is the alignment, discipline is the engine. When you combine both, you become dangerous. You move through life with clarity, certainty, and direction. You stop chasing everything and instead build exactly what was meant for you. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're too focused on the mission you've been given. You stop worrying about time because you trust that your timing is being guided. You stop fearing failure because you understand that nothing meant for you will pass you, and everything that passes you was never meant to stay. This alignment gives you a different kind of confidence, not arrogance, but certainty. You walk differently when you know your steps aren't random. You think differently when you know you're guided. You work differently when you believe your effort has meaning beyond the moment. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter because you're focused on what does. You stop chasing validation because you already know who you are. You stop living in chaos because you've anchored yourself to purpose. People who don't understand this will call you obsessive. They will say you're too focused, too intense, too committed. Good. That means you're on the right path, because the deeper your purpose, the more noise you leave behind, the stronger your alignment, the less you entertain distractions. The more connected you are to something higher, the less temptation you feel to live lower. When your purpose becomes your guiding force, you stop moving like everyone else. You stop collapsing under pressure. You stop waking up lost. You rise with intention. You live with clarity. You act with conviction. You become someone who cannot be shaken because your foundation isn't built on motivation. It's built on meaning. There's a truth most people run from because it exposes them. It confronts their laziness. It crushes their excuses. The truth is simple in this world. Hard work is the only currency that buys anything real. Not intentions, not dreams, not potential, not talking. Hard work, relentless, consistent, focused work that you put in day after day, whether you feel like it or not. You want a better life. You want more strength, more money, more respect, more freedom, more peace, more confidence. Then you must be willing to pay the price. And the price is effort. Effort when you're tired. Effort when you're uninspired. Effort when life is falling apart. Effort when no one cheers for you. Effort when nobody sees it, but you people love fantasizing about success, but they hate the process. They love imagining the result, but they hate the hours required to earn it. They talk about wanting more, but their actions show they're comfortable settling for less. They want shortcuts. They want hacks. They want some secret formula that will save them from the discomfort of actually putting in the work. But life doesn't operate on shortcuts. Life demands sacrifice. Life demands sweat. Life demands repetition. Life demands that you give more than you think you can, and then a little bit more. The people who rise in this world are not the ones looking for an easier route. They're the ones who accept that the route is difficult and run through it anyway. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They worked when others rested. They pushed when others quit. They stayed committed when others got distracted. They understood that hard work is not something you do sometimes. It's something you become. It becomes your identity. It becomes the way you breathe, the way you think, the way you approach every challenge. You don't say, I hope I get what I want. You say, I will earn what I want. You don't wait for opportunities. You build them. You don't pray for results without effort. You pray for strength to work harder, and let me tell you something about the universe: it rewards motion. It rewards effort. Every time you take action, you shift your path. Every time you push yourself, you open doors you didn't even know existed. Every rep in the gym, every hour of focus, every day of discipline, every sacrifice compounds into something meaningful. People think luck is random, but luck is attracted to those who put themselves in the right places through hard work. Opportunities find the prepared. Breakthroughs find the consistent. Blessings find the disciplined, but most people never see this because they quit too early. They want instant results. They want overnight transformation. They put in effort for a week and wonder why they aren't successful. They forget that greatness is a long-term process built through daily actions that stack on top of each other. You don't become strong by training once. You don't become wealthy by working 1 month. You don't become wise by reading 1 book. Everything worth having demands long-term commitment. And the people who succeed are the ones who stay locked in even when the results are slow, even when progress is invisible. Even when no one claps for them. You need to understand something important. Hard work is not punishment. Hard work is opportunity. It's the chance to become someone you're proud of. It's the chance to build a life that belongs to you and not to your excuses. Hard work is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you started. It doesn't care about your background, your past, your mistakes. If you're willing to put in the hours, if you're willing to outwork your former self, you can rewrite everything. This is the mindset that transforms you. You stop choosing the easy path because you realize the easy path leads nowhere. You stop relying on luck because you trust your grind more than chance. You stop waiting for motivation because effort becomes automatic. You shift from wanting success to pursuing it with everything you've got. You stop hoping for change and start creating it. Because once you understand that the universe only respects hard work, you stop fearing the process and start embracing it. Pressure is inevitable. Pain is inevitable. Obstacles are inevitable. What separates the average from the exceptional is not the absence of difficulty. It is the way you respond when difficulty hits. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has stared down moments that would have broken most people. They've faced rejection, failure, ridicule, betrayal, and disappointment. And yet, they didn't quit. They didn't complain. They didn't cry for someone else to fix it. They leaned into it. They embraced it. They understood that pressure is not a punishment. It is a test, a tool, and a teacher. If you want to rise above the crowd, you must learn to treat your struggles as fuel instead of fear to think about it. The harder the pressure, the bigger the reward on the other side. The world does not reward comfort, it rewards results. And results are never born in a soft environment. A man or woman who avoids pressure avoids growth. A person who runs from struggle will never build endurance. You cannot build muscles without resistance. You cannot build skill without failure. You cannot build wealth without challenge. You cannot build character without moments that force you to confront who you really are. Pressure is the forge in which your strength, resilience, and power are created. The problem is, most people don't understand this. Most people see pressure as a threat. They see difficulty as a wall. They see adversity as a stop sign. But the truth is, those are invitations. Invitations to rise, to prove, to build, to transform. And here's where many people fail. They focus on what they're losing under pressure rather than what they're gaining. They see the challenge and only notice the risk, the discomfort, the possibility of failure. But what if you flip that perspective? What if you saw pressure as a privilege? What if you understood that life only tests the people it intends to elevate? Every rejection, every obstacle, every moment of fear is a signal that you are standing at the edge of growth. It is the universe pushing you to step up, to level up, to become stronger, sharper, faster, and better. That is the mindset of the winner. The person who rises does not fear pressure. They harness it. They convert it into power. They let it sharpen their focus, ignite their determination, and amplify their drive. The moment you stop resisting pressure is the moment you stop being ordinary. You start to see opportunities that others cannot see because they are too busy complaining, too busy shrinking, too busy wishing life was easier. You start to take risks that the average will never take because you are no longer afraid of the challenge. It has become your training ground. You start to act decisively, move confidently, and persevere relentlessly. Pressure no longer paralyzes you, it propels you. And that is why the strongest, wealthiest, most successful people have one thing in common: they thrive under pressure. They have been tested, they have been forged, and they have learned that no external force can shake them. Once they embrace the fire, you need to realize that pressure will never go away. Life will never become easier. The obstacles will always exist, the deadlines will always loom. The critics will always criticize. The weight will always feel heavy. The moments will always feel unfair. And if you spend your life waiting for the easy path, you will spend your life waiting in vain. True power comes from walking through the fire. True growth comes from resisting the urge to quit. True freedom comes from taking control when every external factor screams that you cannot. Pressure is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to step up, to perform, to prove, to dominate. The people who win consistently are the ones who have trained themselves to not only endure pressure, but to welcome it. They understand that discomfort is temporary, but the reward of mastering it lasts a lifetime. They don't run from fear, failure, or challenge. They move toward it with clarity, confidence, and courage. And the more they embrace pressure, the less it can control them. Because pressure only has power over the weak, over the unprepared, over the undecided. Once you decide that pressure is your ally and not your enemy, once you choose to step into the storm instead of away from it, you become unstoppable, unshockable, and unbreakable. Success is not accidental. Success is not a matter of luck. Success is not about waiting for things to fall into place or for the stars to align. Success is a result of becoming unbreakable. And what does that mean? It means you no longer rely on motivation because motivation is temporary. It means you no longer rely on luck because luck is unreliable. It means you have developed a mindset so powerful, so disciplined, and so committed that you do what must be done no matter how you feel, no matter who is watching, and no matter how long it takes. The unbreakable do not wait for permission. The unbreakable do not negotiate with their weaknesses. The unbreakable do not falter when the world seems to push against them. They act because action is their standard. They rise because rising is their duty. They win because winning is not an option. It is an expectation. Think about what that truly requires. It requires relentless consistency. It requires pushing when every part of you wants to quit. It requires walking into challenges even when they intimidate you. It requires doing what everyone else avoids, tolerating what everyone else escapes, and enduring what everyone else complains about. The unbreakable don't wait for circumstances to be perfect because they know they will never be perfect. They don't wait to feel strong because they know strength is forged through action, not emotion. They don't wait for motivation because motivation is fragile, fleeting, and unreliable. What they have cultivated is a mindset that moves independently of feelings, a mindset that ignores excuses, a mindset that transforms difficulty into fuel and pressure into power. This level of unbreakable discipline comes from understanding one truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody cares. Nobody is sitting out there thinking about your dreams or your potential. If you want to live a life of power, wealth, freedom, and respect, you must take it yourself. You must fight for it yourself. You must grind for it yourself. Complaining, waiting, hoping, and wishing accomplish nothing. Effort alone achieves everything. Every hour you put in, every decision to act when it is uncomfortable, every refusal to quit under pressure compounds over time. It accumulates, builds, and eventually forms a life that cannot be ignored, a life that commands attention, a life that is unmistakably yours. And here's the challenge that most people fail to grasp. Being unbreakable is not about being emotionless. It's not about being perfect. It's about mastering yourself. It's about understanding your weaknesses, facing your fears, and controlling your mind so completely that no external circumstance can manipulate you. When the unbreakable face failure, they don't see it as defeat. They see it as data, as information to adjust, as a lesson to strengthen them for the next battle. When they encounter criticism, they don't shrink. They listen, filter, and improve. When they are under pressure, they don't fold, they rise harder, they rise faster, they rise stronger. And that is the ultimate advantage over everyone who remains fragile, dependent, And distracted by comfort, the path to becoming unbreakable is not easy. It will demand more from you than you have given before. It will require you to go beyond what you thought was possible. It will force you to endure boredom, repetition, failure, pain, and doubt. And most people will quit before they reach this point. Most people will look at the challenge and decide that survival is easier than victory. But you, the one willing to step into the fire instead of turning away, the one willing to build a mind, a body, and a spirit that cannot be broken, will discover a level of life that most people will never see. That is the reward of unbreakable discipline. That is the result of consistent, relentless, unstoppable effort. Once you adopt this mindset, life becomes different. Obstacles are no longer terrifying, they are invitations. Failure is no longer a threat, it is a tool. Pressure is no longer a burden, it is a forge. And every day, every decision, every action reinforces your identity as someone who cannot be shaken, someone who cannot be stopped, someone who cannot be ignored. You stop waiting for the right moment, for luck, or for motivation. You move forward because you are unbreakable. And that mindset alone makes you a force the world cannot resist now. After everything you've heard, it's time to face a reality that most people will never accept. The world does not care about your excuses, your comfort, or your feelings. Success is not granted. Opportunity is not waiting for you. No one is coming to save you, to cheer for you, or to make the path easier. And that is the freedom you have been avoiding. Because the moment you accept that, the moment you stop expecting anyone else to carry you, you reclaim all the power you've been giving away. Every failure, every setback, every moment of fear or doubt becomes your teacher. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone. Every ounce of effort becomes the fuel for the life you are building. This is the moment where excuses end and responsibility begins. This is where average stops and greatness starts. You have heard the truths about discipline, about prayer, about purpose, about relentless effort, about pressure, and about becoming unbreakable. You know that feelings will never guide you, that comfort is the enemy, and that hard work is the only currency the world respects. You know that alignment with a higher purpose gives meaning to every sacrifice. You know that the fire of pressure is not a threat. It is a forge shaping the person you are meant to become. You know that winners do not wait, they act. They do not hope, they grind. They do not complain, they conquer. And now, knowing all of this, you have a choice: continue to dream, to hope, to wait for someone else to notice you, or step into the relentless reality that you are responsible for every outcome in your life. Because the truth is, nothing else matters except what you decide from this moment forward. Your excuses, your doubts, your fears, they have no weight outside of what you give them. Your future is not built on sympathy, it is built on action. Your identity is not built on words, it is built on consistency. Your power is not given, it is earned. And the moment you understand that your life is yours to command, everything changes. The grind becomes sacred, the struggle becomes meaningful, the pressure becomes fuel. And the victories, when they come, are not just rewards, they are proof of who you have chosen to become. So, reflect on this: every choice, every effort, every act of discipline, every step into discomfort, every hour you refuse to quit, it all adds up. It all compounds. The person you are becoming in this moment, in this very day, is the person who will define the rest of your life. You are no longer a passive observer. You are no longer waiting for life to hand you something. You are active, accountable, relentless, and unbreakable. And that, more than anything else, is the truth that will carry you beyond anyone's expectations, beyond every limitation, and into the life that most people will never dare to live. This is the power you now hold. This is the life you now command. And everything from this moment forward is the proof of what you choose to do with it.